For our article, me and Katie chose Dumb Kids Class by Mark Bowden. To demonstrate our learning, we decided to do an interview. So we are going to be interviewing 5 different people and ask them 5 questions that relates to the school, the social world, all that kind of stuff. And then in between, we're going to be going in between the questions and relating it to Mark Bowden and his article. So enjoy.
Okay, please state your name and what grade you are in.
I'm Joe Gill. I'm a senior.
My name's Kylie Greenhow, and I'm in the 11th grade.
My name's Sam Lohr, and I'm a freshman at college at LCC.
My name's Jack Reed, and I'm a junior.
Luke Bresser, and I'm a senior.
Do you believe that there are groups of academically advanced students and less academically advanced in school? How do you believe this affects your own behavior?
Yeah, there are definitely more academically advanced students and less academically advanced students, but I think when you separate the two, it's not a very positive outcome because the advanced students are going to get better from learning from each other, and the students who are like more behind aren't going to learn because you're not just learning from the teacher, you're learning from other students too.
Yes, and I think it depends on the person. And like for me, I'm more of a competitive person, so I want to push myself to be better. But with other people, they might just not care as much, I guess. So that could lead to a difference in academics.
Yeah, there's definitely a group. I feel like just with the school system and the academic system, the way it's built, it naturally just divides people because it doesn't necessarily test people on their own personal knowledge. It just tests them on their ability to memorize knowledge and apply it to testing. And so not everyone's going to be good at the same thing. It doesn't mean you're not smart. It doesn't mean you're stupid. It doesn't mean you're also brilliant. It just means you can memorize information and retain it. And so due to that, some kids are going to be naturally better. So naturally, it's just gonna split the group up from the start. And my behavior with that, I feel like personally, I'm strictly against the school system and how it's built. So I just feel really resentful towards it, but I don't necessarily, like in class, I don't talk or anything like that. I don't, display myself in any way. I kind of just go with what I need to get the grade. But I feel like the school system definitely needs to address that and change the way that it's structured in order to, take away those groups and kind of feel everything is like unified as well.
I believe that's true, that there are different academically advanced groups in the high school, but I don't believe that it affects me at all.
That I'm a person who kind of goes above and beyond just in my academics just because I want to make my parents proud. So I think it pushes me to be kind of more looked up upon as more academic, higher standards.
Because Mark Bowden was in the less advanced group in school, he experienced different norms. He was seen as a tough boy and people were afraid of him. Kids in the less academically advanced groups tended to have to stick up for themselves, which made them form into a tough person.
Do you think that kids who are more rebellious have less academic achievement than a non-rebel?
Yeah, absolutely, because they just don't care as much.
I think that stereotypically, yeah, that is kind of how you kind of look at it in society, in movies, you see that all the time. But I think I'm the type of person who thinks that you could have really good grades and still act out. You could still have other problems going on that don't even really affect your schoolwork that just causes you to do that.
I think it depends also. By being rebellious, you can be rebellious towards your parents, I guess, and it can affect your grade in a negative way more than a positive way, I'd say. But there could be positives with it too. You want to be better than other people, I guess, but mostly just be negative though.
I don't think, rebellious or not rebellious reflects if you're going to be good academically or not. Because, the people who are rebellious, you look at history, activists and such, are actually some of the smartest people. And it doesn't matter. Everyone has their own, what they want to fight for and their own beliefs and what they think should be right and just and not. And so if you want to rebel against the system and what's built and already in place for us, it doesn't mean you're not going to be good at school. It doesn't mean you're not going to be academically smart. It just means that you're probably more aware of what's happening and you want to rebel against it because you don't feel like you agree with it personally. And if you can notice that, I think that's actually a lot more intelligent than a lot of the things school teaches.
Yes.
Mark Bowden explains how the kids on the dumber side tend to be more aggressive and tough, which is why many people saw Bowden as tough because he was in the dumb class. Recall a time where you acted out of rebellion or in a moral way. Was there a consequence for this?
Okay, so in the 4th grade, a kid was going to the drinking fountain. I think he cut me or something or didn't do the 30-second rule. you know how that used to be. And I called him stupid, and the teacher heard me and pulled me aside and was like, of course, that's not nice. I mean, it's not nice. And my consequence was like staying in for recess, and I'd like fill out a yellow form and take it home.
How did your classmates react, and were you egged on for this?
I was not egged on or anything, but I mean, I think my classmates were like, oh, that sucks, she has to stay in for recess, and they're just kind of like, ooh. Like,
Did they ever think you were a bad person because of that?
I mean, I apologize, so I don't think they just thought I was a bad person, but they were probably just like, not cool. I don't know, maybe they didn't care.
Okay, well, last year during government class, I used to like yell across the room to Logan Taylor while Mr. Wisner was teaching, and there were a lot of similar occurrences in that class that happened with me and Logan Taylor, and it's very egged on by the students and Mr. Wisner. I think just because it he made the class like a more positive experience, more fun.
So my junior year of track, I skipped a bunch of practices because they were either an hour-long practice or they just weren't what I was going to be doing that day. And since I was a captain, it didn't look very good for me not to show up at practice even though I was a captain. So my coach talked to me and was like, you can't skip practice anymore, you can't run. So I had to tell all the guys that you guys can't skip practice just because I do it. And it became a whole mess, but it ended up being all right.
Personally, I've never rebelled like in school. As I mentioned earlier, I'm not very talkative or an outspoken person within school, but I have seen my peers act out in such a way, and I've always supported it as if, I agree with it, and I thought that the conduct was appropriate for the situation, and I don't think that people should be egged on for it, but I definitely have seen some negative feedback in those types of scenarios, or people getting made fun of for, voicing their opinion. And the only thing that I've ever probably done rebellious within school is within like groups or peers. Like I might make comments towards something, or I might voice how I feel about it and try to go against the grain so people have more of an open mind and see all the aspects of something. But I've never gotten in something within class or within the staff or teachers or any of that sorts.
I don't know. There are times in school or in class when I'm with my friends and I just make a joke or something and make the class laugh, and then the teacher gets on me, and then the rest of the class, all the kids just look at me dirty. It's high school, so that's just all it is.
Bowden produced a lot of behaviors and acts that were deemed wrong. For example, he beat up a kid for trying to throw him into a spit pit. Later, Bowden was the legend of the playground. All the dumb kids praised him, and the smart kids were afraid of him. Of course, the dumb kids will egg him on, since he is seen as a leader.
Do you think it's better to be underestimated by others around you or living up to higher standards?
I think it's like a great thing if you're underestimated by everybody, because it just gives you that extra little bit of motivation to like prove everybody that you're better. And then once they see that you like had an improvement, even if it's like not your best day and it's still improvement, they're gonna look at and see that you're improving and probably like doing better, like growing in your job or growing in your tasks.
I think it's better to be pushed up to higher standards. Nobody's perfect, so you're not going to be able to always achieve what everyone wants you to be, but I think that pushing yourself to be the best that you can be is something that I personally strive for, and I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing to do. So
you want people to look up, make you have higher standards?
yeah, so it pushes me to do better.
I think it's better to be underestimated because when you're underestimated, people aren't really seeing you. They're not really understanding what you can do. So when you prove yourself, it just makes you feel that much better.
Underestimated for sure, because in that sense you might your performance might be might peak, and you might do better in school or just extracurriculars or anything of that sorts. Because personally, I've always been held to high standards my entire life, and a lot of kids, especially in DeWitt, are. And pressure comes with that, and pressure and stress might act upon you and force you to do worse in school or feel like you're falling behind or failing, when really you're not. It's just your sense of success is altered because you perceived it at, starting from such a young age as something different because of maybe your peers or your teachers or your family want to make you, they try to push you, but they do it in the wrong way. And so personally, I wish I was always underestimated so I could show people, you know, my real abilities and try to work for that, because I feel like I'd be more motivated to do so.
I personally believe it's better to be underestimated, because when you're held to high standards, you have just a lot of extra stress from teachers and your parents and everything. And yeah.
Mark Bowden's last sentences in his work says, "Nevertheless, some of the best lessons come from my dumb classmates, and those 2 mid-semester promotions. It's well and good to enjoy the world's esteem. I learned, but still better to be underestimated." Bowden felt that it's better to be underestimated in his world so that you can play both sides and always have the chance to move up.